Okay, hello. Welcome to this video. I don't know if this is where I'm gonna post this just yet, but wait, let me drink some water. Okay, sorry if that like came on the microphone. Um, got a new microphone by the way, so that's exciting for me. So I want to start with a disclaimer about this video, about the message that's in this video. This is a spiritual and a political message. Um, I will be saying things that I believe as though they are true without like doing that thing that I sometimes do where I like, you might not believe this or blah, 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 making those kinds of like concessions, I guess, as I talk. You don't have to believe what I believe, but I believe what I believe. And so I'm going to speak as though what I say is true because it's my truth. And I'm just saying that not just for folks listening, but also for myself because I don't want to waste my time apologizing or like making space in ways I don't need to. I don't think it's necessary. So, yes. Also, again, this is a political, like, this is spiritual. Like, I am going to talk about the spiritual aspect of the of life, but to me, see, I'm doing it already. Like, that's what I'm talking about, saying to me instead of just being like, this is what I feel. Spirituality is political. Like, there's a political side of spirituality that just can't be ignored and needs to be like addressed and like I don't know how to explain this what I'm trying to say, but my point is like this message, like I'm just basically being unapologetic, like so that's what I'm trying to say is I'm just going to speak how I speak about the things that I feel I need to be speaking about, and I'm not going to be like, if you're uncomfortable with that, if you become uncomfortable with the message in a way that like you want to turn it off, like that's your business. I don't really particularly care. Not in a rude way, just like that's your business. I just feel I need to get this out, so I'm going to get it out. Okay. That being said, um there are the first thing that I want to talk about is why I am deeply hopeful and how hopeful isn't even a strong enough word. I am assured as a person who is oppressed, as a black woman, as a queer woman, as a disabled woman, um, I am deeply assured of the success of love, radical, true love in this world. I know. It's not that I believe, it's not that I have faith. Those words feel don't feel strong enough for how assured I am in the success of the people who have historically been oppressed. I believe that I believe my people will be free. Period. And I want to talk about why. So first I want to say this quote, very famous quote by Martin Luther King Jr. Love Malcolm X, but this is not by him. Uh that it was inspired by the radical abolitionist Theodore Parker. I didn't know that, so that's why I'm adding that. He said, how long? Not long, because the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Or maybe it's the arc of the moral universe. One of the two. It bends towards justice. Ooh, and actually, I'm called to show y'all the justice card in this deck, and of course, it just pops right out for me. This is the justice card. This is the community. You know, the scales must be balanced. The scales must be balanced. Nothing, one of the things I wrote here, nothing can be created or destroyed. And over the course of the last however many long years, agents of white supremacy, agents of capitalism, agents of patriarchy, agents of homophobia, agents of transphobia, agents of oppression, agents of those who hate love, who allow a obsession with false power, those that worship the false idols of those, of patriarchy, of capitalism, of white supremacy, of all these, you know, oppressive structures, those that worship those structures, they have attempted to wipe the planet of our existence or subjugate us so deeply that we only exist for their pleasure, whatever that looks like. They really have attempted and succeeded in mass murder over and over and over again because they want us, they believe whatever they believe. I don't really care. I mean, like, we need to study it to understand, blah blah, for like the actual political movement, but right now I don't really care about their sick delusions. um Sorry, that might not even be that's not the right phrasing, excuse me. But what they don't want to acknowledge is that nothing can be created or destroyed. So the power that they attempted to destroy did not disappear, it went somewhere. The power they attempted to destroy did not disappear, it went somewhere. Every time they murder an individual who has universes inside of them, those universes do not simply disappear, they go somewhere. I understand the world as one that exists not only on this plane, but on a spiritual plane as well. I do not know very much about the ancestral plane, the spirit plane, Abha kingdom, heaven, however you frame it, the afterlife. I don't know much about it. I'm not going to sit here and act like I have very much knowledge about this. What I feel is true is that the power has been building in the spiritual realm, not only because the power they attempt to destroy has to go somewhere, but because the people on this earth, the oppressed people of this world, and those that are allied with the oppressed people of this world on this earth, pray and do actions in their name all the time. We call on Martin Luther King Jr., we call on Malcolm X, we call on Assata Shakur, we call on these folks. We call on all of our dead. We call on all of our dead. We call on all of our dead, known and unknown. That has an impact. I'm not about to list everybody right now. That's not what I'm going to do right now. It'll take too much time. But there are people listing their names and living with them, bringing the dead with them. That strengthens the spiritual realm. And if we understand justice, if we understand that the scales must be balanced, if we understand that not only do those that do wrong have to face consequences, but we understand that the spiritual world is strong on this for the side of the oppressed, the physical world must reflect that. The physical world will reflect that. And if you understand astrology, which I do not very much, but I do listen, and you understand that this is an auspicious time. This is, okay, we'll get to that in a second. I hope I remember. I already forgot. Whatever. I hope it'll come back. Right, hold on. Let me write this down. Divine timing. Right, it's here. not our only, sorry y'all, opportunity, but, okay. Ooh, but, okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get this in order. So, before I get to the astrology of it all, let me just say this last part. The oppressor always underestimates the oppressed. And this is the greatest strength of the oppressed. And the particular way in which they have underestimated us over and over again is spiritually. The Haitian Revolution was successful not only because of the actions that people took, but because they invoked their spiritual power before, during, and after. Like, they underestimate our spiritual power all the time, and they underestimate not only our spiritual power as living folks, but the spiritual power of those that are of our living dead. They underestimate our spiritual power. They underestimate it. And that is why they will fail. I can get on here and yell this to white supremacists all day. And because they fundamentally worship a false God, they will never, never, never truly estimate accurately how powerful we are. And that is why we are destined. We are destined, we are fated to win. It is what it is. Now, astrologically speaking, I don't know much, and I don't even know the conjunctions, the all placement. I don't know all that. I know that I got on the Channy app and I listened to the like podcast for this week, and Channy Nichols, who does that, who like does those predictions, she's an astrologer, talked about how the last time some of the transits that are coming either in this year or in upcoming years, the last time that they were active or whatever the word is was during Civil War and the Reconstruction era, was during the World War II, and during the fall of the Berlin Wall. In other words, it's the timing of today is the word auspicious. It's a good time to act. Winning is inevitable. We will create a world where love and unity are the core, um um are at the core, are central to the systems that we live within. That is a that is something that will happen. It is inevitable. Who lives to see that happen is up in the air. So what she said, one of the things that Channy said that I really liked is this is about saving all that we can and taking action from that place. And what I was going to say before is that this is not the only opportunity for us to take action. This is not the only time where we can make a where we can change the course of the world. This is not the only time. The time will come again, but when will that time come again, and how many more people will have to die, suffer and die for that to happen? I'm not saying this to create urgency. Urgency is, to me, not a very useful emotion, or I don't know if that's the right word. It has a place, but like urgency motivated by fear, I feel breeds a fear-based action. So I'm saying this to empower us. We have time on our side, like we have timing on our side right now. And not just that, we have history on our side. We have so many things on our side right now. We can take action and make we can change the trajectory of the world. It is a choice that we can make. So, in order to do that, what do we need to make those choices? I want to read a quote by Assata Shakur, very famous. And then I want to read a hadith from Islam. So Assata Shakur said, nobody in the world, nobody in history has ever gotten their freedom by appealing to the moral sense of the people who are oppressing them. A hadith, which means basically it was not written in the Quran, but it is studied in Islam. And please don't quote me on that. I'm definitely not an expert on Islam. I'm not Muslim. This was volume 3, book 43, number 624. Muhammad, peace be upon him, says, help your brother whether he is an oppressor or he is an oppressed one. People asked, O Allah's messenger, peace be upon him, it is all right to help him if he is oppressed, but how should we help him if he is an oppressor? The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, by preventing him from oppressing others. In other words, stop appealing to your oppressors. Stop appealing to oppressive systems. Stop rejecting your own needs, your own, and I mean needs. I don't just mean your basic needs, but I mean that too. If you have the option in your life to choose yourself over and oh my gosh, I'm sorry. This whole idea that we can appeal enough to white supremacy that it will save us, and I mean that we can appeal enough to capitalism for it to save us, and appeal enough to patriarchy for it to save us, gender-based violence and people that enact that, the idea that we can appeal to those structures and systems, that we can change our behavior just enough that they will save us. You might live, but at what cost do you live? And who dies because you lived, because you chose to live in a way that appealed? Again, I'm not saying this, I don't think you need to sit and steep in guilt. That's not what I'm saying. But where can you choose to reject oppression and oppressive systems in your life? Where is that? Where can you do that? Where can you decide, I'm going to choose joy, love, and hope over hatred, hopelessness, and unending despair? It is necessary to feel these negative emotions. The shadow of anything is necessary, but to lose yourself in it is not necessary. Again, I'm not blaming people for depression or anything like that. I want to be clear. I think depression is an absolutely reasonable response to a very unjust world. But I do think we need to watch how we talk about ourselves and about other people and about the world. Feeling like no other world is possible besides this one because we haven't seen it yet is an affront to those who have fought and died for that better life, for a better world, who have actually imagined it, who have believed in it so much they lay down their lives for it, that continue to lay down their lives because they believe a better world is possible. I said, understand our roles as individuals differ. Understand yourself and your role as separate from what external people and structures have told you. Questioning, why do I want this? who told me that I want this, who told me that I need to get this done, is really important. Let's see. And I want to, well, I'll say that at the end. Let's see. Oh, what was the question I wanted to ask here? How to stop appealing to a, when you say stop appealing to, please relax, sir. Cat, not a person. He's literally losing his mind. When it says, I wrote this, but I don't really like, I'm not so cocky as to think that I came up with these ideas. Okay, sorry. I'm shuffling these really soft because how long have I been talking? 20 minutes? Okay. Because I don't want to crack these any more than I've already cracked it. Okay. How do we stop appealing to oppressive systems? What are the steps that we need to be taking to stop appealing to oppressive systems? Father of Knives. These cards have been shuffling so weird lately. Five of Wands. I'll get it in a second. I want one more card. Whew, I'm struggling. There we go. Death. We have Father of Knives, Five of Wands, and the Death card. How to stop appealing? Father of Knives tells you to stop being afraid to look at yourself in the mirror, to find your truth. Let's read what Five of Wands wants to tell you. Where are you competing and comparing yourself to other people's journeys? And how can you stop that? Death. Allow yourself to release all that does not belong to you. Your soul came here with a purpose and a mission. Everything else, all your other expectations on your life besides what your life purpose is, are not permanent and therefore can be shed. Where is it time for you? What beliefs about what your life is supposed to be? Where is it time for that to be shed? Where is it time for that to be released and let go of? What is in what parts of what parts or qualities of yourself are you overly attached to and need to release because they don't actually belong to you? They were placed on you and you decided to accept it as your own. The internal work here is so necessary because we all have a role, we all have something to do, not just in tearing down the oppressive systems, but in building up systems of beauty, of light, of love. We all have a role in building that up. And you're not going to find your role if you're busy, if you're stuck one foot in trying to appeal, trying to we're not gonna we really got to let go of this idea that I just want to get this one last like you can't be a little bit capitalist. You know, I mean, maybe there's some aspects of capitalism, maybe there's some lessons we can take from capitalism, but you can't be a little bit capitalist. Can't be a little bit white supremacist. You can struggle against those things in your own mind. You can but you can't be like, how do I put this? I feel like I'm explaining this really badly. Let's see what Father of Knives says. I just have this vision of somebody and with one foot in the world before and wondering why they can't cross into the new world. It's because you still want a little piece of that oppression pie. Where can you release attachment to these structures? That's really what you're being asked right now. Where am I attached to a competitive and an unnecessarily competitive um, cookie cutter life that actually isn't me? How can I find my own inner light and allow it to shine? How can I remove all that blocks that inner light? All the trappings of this world that has overly focused on money and getting money at any means by any cost. And having money is not inherently bad. It's not bad to have money. It's not bad to have power. It's bad to allow that to drive you, because if you allow these ideals to drive you, you will always be hungry for more. And it will come at a cost. And the cost is distance from your own soul that does not have to exist. You are choosing that. So where are you choosing to be distant from your own soul purpose? And how can you how can you come into reunion with your highest purpose, with your most true self? That is your job. That is your job. One last thing, or not last thing, I want to say that you best help an oppressor by stopping them from oppressing. So focus your attention on the needs of the oppressed directly, whatever those needs are. If you, and I say this because for a lot of reasons. The two that are most like concretely coming to my mind are: one, fixing your attention on trying to convince people that are agents of white supremacy and know it, that are happy to be agents of white supremacy, fixing your attention on them in any capacity, especially to try and convince them that they are wrong, is a endeavor that I find largely useless and even harmful. That is not what will truly help them. What will truly help them is removing their ability to oppress. And how do you do that? That moves on to the second point. You focus your needs on the oppressed, on the people that need, you focus your attention, on the needs of the oppressed. And if you are somebody who is an oppressed person, that includes you, that includes your own needs. But, anyways, what am I trying to say with this? What was the second point? Focus your attention on the needs of the oppressed directly. I mean, maybe that's it. If you're so worried about, bro. Oh, right. If this even means like overly focusing on individuals that have power and are wielding it harmfully, oppressively, and I don't mean making them face consequences. I don't mean criticizing their policy. I mean giving attention. Just make sure that the reason that you are giving them attention is because you are certain, or at least somewhat sure, that what you're doing is helpful to the oppressed and not just feeding your own egoic need to be right. Are you engaging in this takedown of this individual because you think this is going to actually make a concrete, whether that's tangible or intangible, I guess maybe concrete wasn't the right word, because you feel it's going to make some sort of actual impact on the lives of an oppressed person, like a real impact on their life, on the quality of their life? Are you doing that? Are you engaging in this criticism because you think it's going to help? Are you engaging in this criticism to make yourself feel like you're smarter or better or whatever? And if it's just to feed your ego in a unhealthy way, maybe it's time to go to a soup kitchen. Maybe it's time, and I'm not even trying to be funny. Like whatever works, whatever you are called to do, maybe it's time to switch your attention to something more constructive. And that is what I want to leave off with, is Mos Def's line in Love. What was it? Oh, we build in the now for the promise of the infinite. We're building right now for the promise of the infinite. What can you build right now? How can you build right now? How can you allow these structures in your own life to die? How can you disengage from oppressive structures right now, today, in your everyday life? What does that look like for you? I might make another video about that. Or I might just keep going with this one. Should I make another video about that? I think I'll make another one about that. Yeah. Okay, I think that's the message. If you watched this whole thing, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I hope that you have a wonderful day, night, time, rest of your, I don't know. I hope that this helped you in some way. And I hope you know that you are loved.